Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam. How's everybody doing?
Well,
How are you, Sophia?
I'm great. Look, with this weather.
It's so hot,
Can't
but we're not
complain.
going to complain.
No, let's not complain because we never know how long it'll last. So, alhamdulillah, really needed.
So what are we doing today? You want to say?
We are talking about Muslim women in sports again because such a big topic. Always so much to say about it.
We're never going to finish.
No, because we love sports.
But I really like that more Muslim women are getting into sports now. And visible too. Not that if you're not visible is not okay, but it's good to see visible Muslim women in
Yeah,
sports.
definitely. So today it's again a show that's in partnership with Transport for Greater Manchester and their active organization. We'll give all the details again in a minute. We have two guests today. We're very blessed.
Here we are.
So, mashallah, we have Ruqayya here, who has set up her own sort of a local walking group, and on her way, nearly here, is Anna, who is a she paddles ambassador. Basically, she teaches kayaking and other things. So it'll be really interesting because in the past we had two sisters.
Well,
One was talking.
Who was
about,
actually doing kayaking?
they were doing it. She was doing the kayaking, and another one who was talking about how she was walking and the benefits, and two of them actually talking about how they benefit from walking. But this time, today, we're going to have the other angle, which is what has led these women to become leaders in this activities, leading walking groups and teaching others to I mean, kayaking. This is random, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's unusual.
Taekwondo is not random, is it?
No. It's.
Like,
I mean, it used to be, but now more and more
so
women are
many.
doing it, right?
No, I mean it's true. You see
in
many
martial
more,
arts in general.
Yeah, you see many more martial arts women in
But
Muslim
swimming
women.
sports, water sports are more unusual to see.
Less.
More visible minorities and Muslim women involved in it.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll argue and I'll check with Anna when she's here whether it's because in the past we didn't have proper swimming gear, and now we have
Okay.
the amazing burkinis.
But
that make it
burkini
really
has been
comfortable.
around for a long time. Like I didn't before I knew that in Turkey they sell them anyways. In New Zealand, I think, or Australia, there
That's
was
where it
this
started.
one woman
Yeah.
who called it burkini, but she must have been inspired from Turkey because back then nobody knew what Turkey's doing,
No,
right?
exactly.
And then I realized in Turkey they have a special name for it. I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
they have a name for it in
I
Turkish.
mean, look at it. It's been what, 20 years?
Yeah.
The most. This is not long when you talk about
No.
Muslim women being in Western countries, and
No.
so we're going to start with you, Ruqayya. Can you just introduce yourself? Tell us.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Angela and Sophia, for inviting me along today to your wonderful wellness show. So I'm really excited to be here. So my background is I'm actually a maths teacher. So this is how it all started. I'm actually a maths teacher, and along the way I got ill. So I think for a lot of people, an illness can trigger looking for other ways of feeling better, and that's how I ended up within the health and well-being industry. I have a condition called fibromyalgia, which causes chronic fatigue and muscle and joint pain, and so I was on a search for finding things that will help me to feel better. And I found that gentle exercise is one of the things that is recommended.
What kind of exercise do you do?
So I do walking as often as I get a chance to, and I do yoga every day, and I teach a yoga class to ladies once a week as well.
So you're a yoga teacher now.
I am a yoga teacher now as well.
Mashallah.
Yes.
That's amazing. What happened? Tell us what happened to lead you to start.
Yeah. So like I say, it was the health condition really that started it. So I used to run before I have the fibromyalgia. I used to actually run. I did the Manchester 10K run 3 years in a row for different charities, and I would run 10k every weekend in training, and that was fantastic. And that was actually, I was a late starter. I wasn't always a sporty person. I always enjoyed sports, but I wasn't really that good at it. But I argue you don't have to be to take part in. You don't have to be the best person. You know, I'm not going to pretend I'm an Olympic athlete or anything like that. But just to take part in sports, it's fun. It's good for you physically, but it's good for you mentally as well. And it's a massive achievement.
Yeah.
But the condition I have causes pain and stiffness in my muscles and joints, so I find that I can't do the running anymore. So that's when I thought, okay, I'm not going to give up, I'll walk. At least I can still walk.
And how long
and
after you
that's how it
started
all
walking
started.
did you see like a change?
It improved. So I would say physically it helps because it starts to relieve the muscle and joint pain, so it loosens things up. The yoga in particular, I do that religiously every morning when I wake up, just to loosen all my joints up, because I get really stiff when you've been lying still at night. You know, you get really stiff, so I do that every single day. And like I say, I teach a class once a week. The walking I do as often as possible, and it's not just for the physical health, it's for the mental well-being as well. So I found that just going out and walking in the parks and looking at the trees and the plants and noticing things that I didn't have time to notice before because I was busy working all the time. So, you know, just noticing as the seasons pass, the blossom coming up in the trees and the plants during spring, and then the flowering in the summer, and, you know, seeing the leaves changing colour in the autumn, and just noticing and being mindful of our surroundings. I found that really helped. So this is how it all came about, really. It was a combination of improving my physical and mental health, because getting a chronic illness does affect your mental health massively.
And it's invisible, so nobody knows you have it.
Exactly.
And they treat you like, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, because considering it took 2 years for me to get a diagnosis for my condition, it's very difficult to diagnose. So that was a very difficult time. So I spent that time searching for solutions. So I looked at nutrition, which we're going to talk more about later.
I know that we talked about that you have a component to nutrition, and any health related thing cannot be fixed without nutrition, but we'll talk about how you started your walking career.
Yeah, the exercise,
and we'll talk about nutrition in the second hour, inshallah. So do you have anything to ask?
Alhamdulillah. Well, no, we have Anna who's come through the doors of the studio, which is fantastic. So we really have like the walking the trees and the earth, and now we have the water element with Anna. So, assalamu alaikum, Anna. Thank you so much for coming.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, Anna, just introduce yourself. Tell us a bit more about you.
My name is Anna. I'm originally from Russia, but I moved to UK in 2003, so UK has been my home ever since. I do paddling, so mainly kayaking, but recently I started to do stand-up paddleboarding as well.
That's great. You know, this is when we prepared the show. I was saying, I was talking about paddling, and I was like, what is it paddling? Are you just like do the new board paddling or whatever, like the standard? And you said no, actually, paddling is the generic word for any sport that has paddles. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And standing up paddling. I don't. Did you say standing up paddling?
So paddle sports includes many different sports in it: kayaking, canoeing, rafting, stand-up paddleboarding, dragon boats. So lots of different things you can do actually, and it's all paddle sports, so it's all paddling.
That's amazing. So tell us, how come? I mean, how come you fell into that? What was the reason?
So when I was teenager, I was attending. It's a bit like Scouts, but it's not official in Russia. Some kind of summer camp where you go for expedition trips on the big foldable kayaks and some rafts. So I really enjoyed that. And then I moved to UK and I kind of forgot about this stuff. I don't know why it didn't come into my head. And then I went back to Russia for one of the holidays, and again the same group that we used to be teenagers, now they're teachers and stuff. They invited me on a trip, on actually a couple of trips. One was like big kayaking expedition, one was like 20-something day rafting.
Wow.
in like Baikal Lake region, stuff like that, and really like reignited my spark for paddling. And when I came back, I was like, I need to find any kind of club that does it. And it was so surprising to me. It's like, it's actually easy. London is full of canoe clubs and stuff, and I felt like I missed so much in my life because I didn't look for it before. So yeah, I joined first canoe club in 2011 here, and from there I started. It was mostly like whitewater, so I got myself whitewater boat, and I was so keen to learn. And then I learned to roll very quickly my boat, and I was going on these whitewater trips and all this different stuff. And then just realized that at that point, it is improved, very much improved now, but at that point it was very male dominated. Yeah. It wasn't any diversity at all. Apart from like high competing athletes, but it wasn't any diversity in whitewater kayaking. Very male, very white male, very kind of pub after paddle based thing. So
were you already really Muslim there?
I converted when I came to UK in 2003. Like a year or so after I converted to Islam. So yes.
So you were basically entering that world as a hijabi Muslim woman. Okay, you're white, but still you had that different element to you. You were a woman. How did that work? How did you feel? Were you welcome, or was it difficult?
Well, at the club level, I was quite welcomed. It was fine. It's just when it came to the trips, when you have to go to, let's say, Wales, and it was mixed groups and very much male dominated, so I did feel very uncomfortable. And that's why at some point I thought like, well, I have to look for another kind of division in the sport to do something else, because I can't just really progress in whitewater if I can't go like in a more or less female environment to go on all the trips and train.
Also, what I know from other people's experiences, those sort of clubs and environments, they also involve a lot of sort of sometimes drinking and things that are kind of activities that outside of the social activities.
Yes, they'll have obviously like a Christmas party or stuff like that, but you don't really need to attend it if you don't want to. It's no one's gonna like be upset with you. They understand. But it mainly like, because with whitewater, if you want to improve, you really get to go on the trips, or like a specific center like in London or Nottingham or Cardiff. They'll have this big whitewater centers where you can actually go and train, and that's not really a trip, and that would be okay, but it does involve, you need to have a car, you need to travel still. It does involve money. So it's about 10 years ago now. At that point, it was a bit hard. So
because this is what we're interested in this show, is to see, sort of to encourage Muslim women to get more active, but also within a sort of comfortable framework. And I suspect a lot of the obstacles and resistance to join a club or go into activities because they think, oh, I'm not going to be able to fit in that different world. So it's nice to see that although you had some things that were a bit different and a bit uncomfortable, you still continued in your passion. And what now you are, you say you're a She Paddles ambassador. So what is that?
So British Canoeing chooses, it is an application process that any paddling female can apply, and then they choose 16 paddlers, 10 of them from England and 6 from the rest of UK, to be representative of paddle sports. And you just have to do as much as you can of obviously posting on media, advocating the sport, promoting, doing talks and all sorts of things. I knew someone who was a She Paddle ambassador last year, so she told me, you got to go and apply, because I think it'd be beneficial, especially because you're the only Muslim girl I know who paddles, so go girl. So that's what I did.
So what does it, sorry, I want to ask, how does being a representative, a She Paddle represent, how does that Like, what do you have to? Do you do to encourage other people? Like, just by doing it, or do you do some activities related to it, like to be an ambassador? What do you do as an ambassador?
As ambassador, so the main role is obviously to shout out about the paddle sports to your communities as much as possible, and if you can, obviously try to organize events. So I managed to organize an e-paddle event that inshallah is going to happen the end of July this year in Bolton. So it's like after the big Eid, we felt like we need to give a week or two to people after the Eids. You know,
to come back from all the visiting families.
Yes, exactly.
Is this the first
Digesting
time
the
that it's happening?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, I've never like.
So again, it's in Bolton.
Yes.
And
I'd love
it's
to
going
do
to be
it.
on what date?
23rd of July, inshallah.
Right. And are you still looking for people to join, or how does it work?
It's
Is it
already
for-
fully booked. So it is a free
Brilliant.
event, but it was like booked out in less than a week, and I was completely shocked.
That's when we got to know each other, because you posted it on one of the Facebook groups. Muslim
Yes,
Mamas.
I think Muslim Mamas classified something,
Yes.
or Muslim events, something like
One
that.
of those.
If you're planning to do it again next year, we'll book in months ahead.
Inshallah.
Yeah, but it's very encouraging, isn't it? And that's probably maybe what you, Ruqayya, you experienced, like with trying to encourage Muslim women to walk when they saw you, and you were facilitating in a certain way, maybe groups, local groups to walk. The demand was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the demand multiplied during lockdown. That's the surprising thing. So the walking group started in 2018.
So which walking group is it? Just tell us.
The women's walking group, we meet every Friday, usually in the
Where are you
afternoon.
based?
Well, South Manchester group, but we walk in different parks each week,
All right.
just to make it more interesting. So it did start off with Plattfields Park, because it's quite central, but and there was only really about 5 of us who were walking regularly, you know. So there were other people who you know how it is, you make a WhatsApp group and lots of people join, but not everybody actually joins in. So there was about 5 people who were coming regularly, and then we had the pandemic, of course, and one of the other ladies who was a lead on that originally moved out of the area. So I continued the group after she wasn't able to join us anymore. But it was, and then we had lockdown, which was the end of the world for the world stopped, didn't it, for a while, the March 2020. And I think it was around about June 2020 when the government allowed people to go out for walks, and they were encouraging people to start going out for walks. So I very tentatively restarted the walking group, because we stopped once the first lockdown started, we stopped. And I think, if I remember, it was groups of 6. You were allowed to meet outdoors in groups of 6. So, or was it in pairs? But anyway, I can't quite remember which, because the rules kept changing. The rules kept changing every few months, didn't it? So, I tentatively reopened the walking group, and to my surprise, lots of people were interested in coming, because they couldn't do anything else.
I think we realised what we had before and taken for granted.
Absolutely.
Disappeared.
Being stuck in the house
all of a sudden,
for that length of time.
Yeah,
Really,
that's what happened to me too. Yeah, so I mean, my feet started not being able to wear the shoes. What happened?
wow.
And then you realize you better start walking
Yeah.
again.
So I mean, the number of people who, I mean, I know it happened in my household as well. You're all at home, so you end up eating more.
Yes.
So the children were home, my husband working from home.
It was the worst
so
thing.
they were having full-on breakfast, lunch and dinner,
Yes.
which wasn't the norm for us previously. And then there were snacks in between. So we all put on weight, and I think the whole nation, we all put on weight.
And I think what you said earlier about moving and getting the joints moving, you do
Just
yoga
I do yoga every day as well.
Not a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
So being static in the house, there's only so much you can do in a house. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're already in sports, and I'm going to ask you that, Hannah, if you replaced your paddling practice with something in the house during lockdown, that can help some people
No, but
who are
only-
homebound. But
but you're right, Sophia. Only people who already had some practices, like my husband.
like me, I did taekwondo
you took taekwondo and then you did it
in the house.
In the
and
house.
Pilates as
My
well.
husband, before the pandemic, he was already doing the stairs up and down, walking the hallway, and he already had it in him to do it and doing weights in the house. But me, I was never a sporty person, and then after the pandemic,
But
the walking
the thing
went out
the
the
thing
door
is,
and-
for my argument is walking is free. Anybody can do walking.
Yeah.
You
Sure,
see,
but-
there's certain sports you need special equipment. You need to have the
Or
know-how. You need to.
traveling, I was not allowed because it was certain mileage you could do. I could not paddle until summer 2020.
Yeah, because unless you have the water next to your door.
Yes, all the water
Yes,
you had
of course.
around me, it was way too far. Like, or you were not allowed to go unless in the groups, like reservoirs. I could not paddle until I went to Wales in summer.
Wow. You must have missed it a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
But Ricky, the walking though, a lot of people underestimate how good it is for
Yes.
you. It's a full body
Yeah.
exercise.
Absolutely.
And only if you never use it as a exercise do you realize that when you start, your whole body, like when I started the year before, slowly, I was in pain my whole body was in pain because it'd go up hills and walking, but you still think, oh, it's just walking.
It's just walking.
But
And
it's
the
so good
beauty
for
is you
you.
can do it at your own pace. Everybody has different levels of ability. So you may have some people who aren't as active, and just going for a very slow, gentle, flat walk would be. So if you were doing hill walks and that
Yeah.
was the first time, then that's probably why you were in pain. So it's best to start on a flat surface first, just a normal local park, and just do a little bit. So what I do say to ladies who aren't used to exercise is, even if you just do 15 minutes, that's your first time, and then have a rest, and then maybe the next time increase it to half an hour, and then increase it maybe to a little bit more. So our walking group, I've set it to, usually it's 1 hour. On a weekly walk we do an hour. It's fairly low impact, so it's suitable for everybody. And what naturally happens is people end up splitting up. We don't deliberately split them, it's just that you'll have some faster walkers going on ahead, you'll have sort of a middle group, and then you'll have the slower walkers who fall behind. But they clump into groups, so we never leave anybody on their own. You know, I'm always very conscious of making sure nobody gets left alone completely. So it's just a natural thing that people will walk at their own pace, and it's enjoyable. And when you know, when ladies get together, we chat, and that is good for you as well. So in terms of your mental health and well-being, you're having a walk, you're getting the exercise, but you're not thinking about the exerise because you're busy chatting away and going blah 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 blah, and then we're at the end, we'll stop for a coffee, or if it's sunny, maybe an ice cream. So yeah, the parks that have a cafe are very popular, and if it's a park that doesn't have a cafe, then we'll go and find a local cafe. And that's the social element pulls them in. So what I've now got is, I think, 54 people on the WhatsApp group. We regularly have between 10 to 20 people who attend. So it's gone from 5 to 10 to 20 on a regular basis.
And I'm sure they've seen a difference in their health, so that's why they keep coming.
Absolutely. I've had women say to me, this is the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
And they really look forward to it, they enjoy it, and they ask, oh, where are we going this next week? So the excitement, there's that level of excitement there as well, almost like children. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I'm used to dealing with children being excited and saying, oh, what are we doing next? So, and when you get adults who really show that level of almost like childlike excitement, where are we going next? I really enjoyed that, and I love being with my walking buddies, and we take photos, and yes, it ended up being a bit posy, but it's just I started taking photos of the park and the scenery just to encourage more people to come, and then, you know, they all want to pose like, oh, look where we were, and yes, there's nice pond behind us and some swans and stuff. So it's just become a really enjoyable event weekly. And then in the summer we are planning to do some longer trips. So last year we did a bigger trip to Tatton Pot, so that was a day trip. We can't do that every week, of course. People are busy, it's a weekday, but you know, we do the one-off longer trips. So this summer, inshallah, we are planning to do, I'm not going to say yet because it's not absolutely, you know,
It's not
organised.
written in
It's not written in stone just yet, but we are planning perhaps a seaside trip. We just haven't put in stone which seaside. I desperately need to see the sea. I haven't seen the sea for so long.
Formby, my favourite place.
Yeah, Formby's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Perhaps St Anne's. You know, we'll see. So, and maybe even North Wales. So we're in the process of looking into hiring a minibus, because in the past, of course, we go to local parks, but some of the ladies don't drive. So we were talking about barriers earlier. One of the barriers is, oh, I don't drive, I can't get there, or there's a lot of ladies who can drive but don't.
Yes.
There's a different category.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
They'll drive from their house to the local shops or to their child's school within their local area, very small vicinity, but they won't go outside their comfort zone. And it is about confidence. And I think having a women's group gives those ladies the confidence that perhaps they wouldn't have had. A lot of women won't go and walk on their own. I will. I'll happily go and walk. I live in Didsbury, so I'm very near to Fletcher Moss Parks, and you walk through Stenner Woods along the River Mersey. It's beautiful. That's my happy place to go, and it's 15 minutes walk from my house, so that's where I go on a regular basis. Not everybody's got the confidence to go walking through the woods on their own.
That's pretty sad.
No, of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's very few
certain
women, I'd say,
areas
who have the
you feel
confidence
like,
to do that.
You feel like, oh, maybe there's something that might happen to us
Yes.
and stuff. So
Yeah, so it's the
and as
fear.
a more visibly different woman as well.
Yeah,
you're
it's
worried.
it's the fear of the unknown. But once people have been out and done something and experienced it, they become more confident. So even the driving again is like I was saying, is a barrier. So to plan longer trips, there's a few of us. There's about 3 or 4 of us who end up being the designated drivers every time. But you know that then is the pressure on the same people. So we're looking into hopefully getting a minibus and driver sorted, so we can do more of the longer trips.
That's great.
Like, there'll be occasional ones. It's not going to be every week, but it just allows us that little bit of extra freedom.
More flexibility to
More
do things a bit
flexibility.
differently and to take them where they would not normally go. at all.
Exactly.
So
See,
how can people?
some people don't get to go on holiday. You know, there's
Yeah, exactly.
some people are fortunate enough to be able to go off on holiday with their family, perhaps on a regular basis, and there are others who don't. It's not the norm for them. So these day trips become like their holiday substitute, and it's something to look forward to, and they look back on it and say, oh, do you remember when we went to this place or that place? And it's allowing people to have enjoyable memories.
So Rukia, how can people contact you then? Do you have like a website or?
Well, we don't have a website for the walking group, so what I'll do is I'll leave you my contact details if people want to contact
As usual,
you.
everybody knows.
Yes.
They can email the radio station info@heritageradio.co.uk. We'll also put some contact details under our video once it's uploaded on YouTube in
on
a
our
week
channel.
or so. Inshallah, on our channel, Wellness
The
with
Wellness.
Angela and Sophia. So there's different ways, but definitely if you contact the radio station by email, they will be able to pass on
and then
any
you can
details that
pass
you
on
want
my details.
to
But
contact me.
basically, our walking group, there are lots of different walking groups that walk on different days and different times to suit different people.
That's
So our
great.
walking group is on a Friday, and the reason for that is because that's my only full day off work, because I work.
Apart from the driving and other things that we talked about, what other barriers did you?
I would say from the women that I've met along the years, another barrier is, but I'm so busy at home. I want to go out, so this is a common thing. I want to go out, I want to do things, but I've got the housework to do, I've got the cooking to do, I've got the family to look after, and my slant on that is, the housework will still be there when you go back. It's not going anywhere. It can be done at another day. It's one day a week. It's not even a full day. It's one afternoon. It's a 1 hour walk. Allow 2 hours if you're going to stay back for coffee. 2 hours of your life once a week.
This is what,
and it's in the afternoon because obviously Jummah prayers, the Friday prayers are earlier. So we tend to walk 2 till 3 in the winter, 2:30 to 3:30 in the summer. But the times can be flexible. Sometimes we can go a little bit later, depending on what's going on. But it doesn't quite suit the mums who need to pick up kids from school. So, but there are weekend. I think you spoke to a lady last week who has
last week, yes.
Farhana's in my Friday walking group.
And then
there's
we
a
had
Wednesday
Rice,
walking group. There's a weekend. There's several weekend walking groups. So I'm sure people who figure out when is most suitable for them, they can then link up with a suitable walking group.
So
but
we
there
had-
are
yeah,
lots of
yeah.
them. There are
We have
lots of
given,
them out there.
So last show on walking, we had given lots of contact details for the South Manchester walking group, Muslim walking group, and so you can go back to that as well, and we'll put that again on our video upload. So coming back to you, Anna, with the paddling, for instance, here Ruqayya was talking about walking out in the woods, in the greenery. We know the color green is really beneficial. It has a lot of subconscious, subliminal impacts to our brain and etc. and our moods. Walking in the woods, just like the smelling, etc. So, what is your benefit you feel like when you're in water? What do you know about the benefits of water, and why?
For me personally, because I've got underactive thyroid and I've had it since I was 15, paddle sports became somewhere to go to not only improve physically, but also emotionally. So when you go on water, they do say water heals, right?
Yes, that's true.
So it's the connection of sound of water, feeling the cool water on your hands when you paddle, just going with the flow and the speed, the smells of the nature, and then you obviously, you're never in the blue and you don't see the green, so you do see lots of green and around anyway. So especially like paddling somewhere on the canals or lakes, you will have lots of scenery around. If it's not urban, so that really helps you just to recharge your batteries, I guess. Fresh air and just being on water, and it reflects the sun, so it gives you when it's sunny, it gives you a better suntan as well.
Yes, be careful not.
You still have to wear sunscreen
because the sun reflects a lot on water, doesn't it?
But so for me, it's because it gives you like this kind of a feeling of a calm, even if you go with the speed. It's very good, the water. And sometimes I like to splash, like if I do have a boat that I can roll, I could roll, and just a bit of like, oh, that's refreshing.
Yeah, we talked about, I know that you're going to meet her, Hannah, who was here a few months ago talking about her passion for kayaking, and I've put you in contact because she said she was so excited to hear about another Muslim woman who was passionate like she is with kayaking, and she was saying that she was learning to do the rollover, and it's quite a technique. But what other things, like you're now teaching women or people to kayak, is that right?
Well, not really yet. So I'm a paddle sports instructor at the moment, so I help out at our Bolton canoe club occasionally on the sessions, mostly with the children. But from the end of July, we're going to have Muslim girls paddle sports club, which is going to be a monthly sessions, inshallah. And we're looking forward to see if we can get any sponsors to get that into 2023. So we'll see how it goes, inshallah. So I will be one of the coaches on the group, so we'll have a group of 20 ladies and girls, inshallah, and it will be a session once a month. And yes, I guess I will have to instruct them and teach them basics of paddling and some games and stuff, just to have some fun.
That's quite exciting.
That's really good, because again, what I like about this is that it's so unusual. It really isn't like walking. We were talking about taekwondo earlier. There are a lot of Muslim women in taekwondo. It's probably martial arts where you see the most Muslim women. It's not. You now see Muslim women on bicycles, but you don't really think. Like Hannah was saying,
are more unusual.
Right? She never knew of any other Muslim woman who
So now that you're doing it, do you see more Muslim women trying to come into the sport? More younger kids, Muslim girls?
I guess bit by bit, it will take time, but that's why the times are changing. And when you ask me, like, what are the obstacles? There are much less obstacles at the moment than it was before. So I don't want ladies listening and thinking, oh yeah, she had such a hard time before with whitewater.
Exactly. Now it's
times have changed. That's why British Canoeing's been working so hard to get more women generally into paddle sports. So when you do get on the groups, there are many female groups at the moment. They don't necessarily have to be Muslim, but you will know there will be female only, female coaches. So it is great time to join now, inshallah.
Hannah, Now, say I want to go and do paddling with you in Bolton. What do I wear? What, you know,
That was my
it's a bit
question.
scary.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. So for summer months, but we do need to remember that British waters are always more or less cold.
yes.
So for
Definitely.
summer months, if you're not planning to get into water, let's say you're using sit-on kayak, which is very stable usually, unless you go like on the seaside, you can just wear like a burkini or a tunic and trousers, like shalwar kameez.
So basically, you might be splashed a bit with water, but
Yes.
you're not going to be fully immersed.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you're not planning to be fully immersed, then you can just wear something that you would normally wear for sea bathing, you know, or for swimming in a pool for summer months. And hijab wise, if a sister does wear hijab, then I would say something that is a sports hijab is better, because if you do fall over, things happen, you know, then you won't hurt yourself or others.
You won't have the
with the
hijab going
pins,
over your
or
pins.
if they have to pull you out. So I would say
So something that would not
like a
flap over your face.
so
and stop you from-
burkini top or sports hijab will be the perfect fit. And ladies who wear veils and niqab, there are sports versions available at the moment, or
It's so
even simple
amazing.
like a
Yeah, I
bike,
know,
so
it's
amazing.
brilliant.
even like bikers balaclava. I mean, you know, if you can't find another one, but it is better that you kind of try and tuck it in and it's out of your way.
There are lots of brands now.
But
of,
I have a
Muslim,
question,
Muslim sportswear.
How do people treat Muslim with hijab, visible Muslims or minorities, like in the clubs? How is it? And like you feel comfortable going?
Yes, very comfortable. I
You're
don't,
welcome- you feel
I don't feel
welcome?
any difference. Yes, very welcome. Same experience I had. I lived in London for 15 years, and 7.5 of those I kayaked in London. Very welcoming. Yes, there is no difference. It's just if you do become club member, you do need to make them aware that you might need extra time to go get changed rather than, you know,
Just
other people.
go straight.
So that was my main obstacle at some point, where like, okay, I need to finish a bit earlier than other people. I'm going to go get changed, you know, because layers, scarves.
Yeah.
So make your life easy, get yourself a sports hijab so you don't need to put the pins back. You know.
I mean, the nice thing here, that if you set up a proper women's kayaking club, advantage is that everybody will be in the same boat. Excuse the pun. Just came to me, you know. But you know what I mean? You'll be like, all of you will have to take a little extra. All of you will know that, you know, maybe time of the months you might not be able to join in, you might not feel comfortable to join in, you might not have the same level of energy. We had a whole show about perimenopause, menopause and hormones, and how that affects your performance and concentration and focus and coordination and balance.
Oh yes.
So I'm sure you've experienced that on your standing board, and you have no balance. I have that in Taekwondo, but so the advantage is that you kind of, although you don't want to separate yourself from the rest of the population, it kind of it has the advantage that all of you kind of understand each other a bit more.
Yes, but I don't want Muslim ladies get discouraged if there is no Muslim paddling group around them, because there are many female paddling groups around UK anyway. So they shouldn't be like worried. They should join.
And I suspect if you are in a single kayak, then you're on your own anyway. So
Yes.
you can be coached and surrounded by other men, but it's very decent. It's a bit like us doing Taekwondo. Our outfit is very decent. There's no contact.
In the
etc.
summer, it could be that sometimes men would wear like shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, like, you walk in the streets
when
and
I
you
do-
see worse.
because I don't generally I did marathon racing, kayak marathon racing, so you do get men in lycra and stuff.
Yeah, of
because it's
course.
easier for them to get in and out of boat and
No
you know.
chafing.
But then obviously ladies would wear the same anyway, because it's just part of the sports gear. But I just wore my tracksuit.
Yeah, but I mean,
bottoms.
we live in this country where you see, as I said, you know, in the streets, as soon as there's a bit of sunshine, even if it's the middle of February, you know,
My
it's like
goodness.
taking
They
a
are
t-shirt off and
like it's gonna go away, so I better take advantage.
Exactly. So I think, in a sense, we're kind of okay. Well, my health is important. My well-being, my sports, it's like walking.
Yeah.
You walk in the woods, and you can, be faced with someone who's in a tank top and very very short, shorts and stuff. So.
But the important thing is when you see, when other women who are less brave see women like yourselves out there doing these things, then they think, oh, I can do that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing. And even if it takes time for them to figure it out, they will know, oh, I can do it too. And then it will pass down to their girls, the younger girls. So this is only
it's a
progress.
confidence thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
it can
It
only
just gives
progress
them a
from
little bit
here,
of confidence.
mashallah.
When you can see it, you can be it. So
Yeah. And that's good to know that. But
And I always say, if I can do it, so can you, because everybody has to start from somewhere.
exactly.
It's amazing though. I'm so glad when I first became Muslim in 1988 in Canada. Oh wow, you hardly saw hijab in schools or anything.
Things have changed a lot.
And now the girls are just taking off everywhere, here in the UK and Canada. Mashallah.
Well, it's the same for me. I was born into a Muslim family, but still at school, when I was in school, it wasn't the norm. It wasn't the norm back then, whereas now it is. It seems to be quite accepted and normal for women and girls, if they choose to wear the hijab at whatever age. It's just more accepted and more normal now to see that, which then gives other women and girls the confidence if they wish to start wearing the hijab to do so. Because I remember when I started wearing hijab in my early 20s, it was frightening because I wanted to do it. I'd been thinking about it for some time, but there are barriers, and you wonder, well, how will people perceive me? Will I be treated differently?
Did you see somebody else do it before you did it, or you just?
I have several friends who were wearing it, but it wasn't because I wasn't just copying what they were doing.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not about copying. It's like more like, oh, if they can do it, like let me try.
Yeah. It was for me. It was very much more spiritual. It was something that was in my heart. I wanted to do it for a long time, but the barriers were more, how would I be perceived, and will it affect my career? I actually thought about that as well, because I was a young teacher at the time. I was still quite early in my career, and the irony is and it was a brave thing. For me, it was a very brave thing to do. I turned up in work one day wearing hijab, and I hadn't been the day before. And it was round about this time of year. Actually, it was just before Big Eid, Eid al-Adha. And a lot of people fast the day before, don't they? So I'd been fasting, and then I turned up wearing a hijab, and not many people commented. It was the second day when I was still wearing a hijab. It was like, oh, so are you going to carry on wearing that now? I thought it was just for Eid you were wearing it. They thought it was just a one-off thing. And I was like, no, I've decided I'm going to continue wearing it. Oh, good for you.
That's a nice
And that was so nice. Even the children would say, oh, good for you, miss. And some of them did ask, so why are you doing this now? And I said, well, I wanted to do it for me. I wanted to do it for my faith and for Allah.
Yeah.
And the irony is that thought in my head, will it affect my career? The very next week I had an interview for my first promotion, and I got it.
There you go. That's when you do, like always
Alhamdulillah,
say, when we do a step towards Allah, Allah runs to you. And this is the same thing for everything. For everything we talked about today, is don't think like you're doing something. For any listeners out there, you're not doing anything wrong by being out there with your hijab, jogging, walking. Our body's an amana. We have to take care of it, and it's very acceptable here nowadays to do all of this as a woman. So why not you? And this is what our partners today, TFGM, with the different organizations, are really encouraging. Is like you were saying about the paddling, Anna, the Paddling Association Federation, British Canoe Federation. All of these federations are really encouraging Muslim women
and minorities.
So Angela, you have got some statistics, because we're still not there yet.
I found this statistic that the percentage of physically active people in the Asian, the Black, and other and Chinese ethnic groups are lower than the national average, ranging from 49.5% to 56.5%.
So it's like half the population of those ethnic groups actually active properly,
and
which means active is they do something consistently for the last 5 years.
So it's good to see guys as leaders, you know, being examples, mashallah. We've seen other sisters too.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Of course, the knock-on effect of those statistics are if half of the BAME population are not being active, that explains why there's a higher proportion of BAME people who have illnesses such as diabetes,
sick.
obesity, heart problems. There's a direct link there.
Simple mobility
Yes,
issues of not
yeah.
being able to pray on the ground because they,
Yes.
you know, they just don't move in a proper way. Like you were talking about your yoga, I'm still very inspired by you. I've got programs for my day and I just miss them.
Can I
I'm not
just
consistent.
mention
of
about the statistics? The main obstacle to paddle sports would be that people don't swim.
I was going to ask you, thanks for
Yes.
reminding me. Yes.
And because when you join any club, at some point they will ask you to do a swimming test. You will be wearing your buoyancy aid, which is like a personal flotation device. You know, a life jacket, as some people may think.
that's good.
However, they will still have to be able to swim 50 meters in this comfortably to pass the exam. Then we'll say, okay, then you can join and continue doing the sessions. When paddling clubs start doing their winter sessions in the pools, in swimming pools, then they don't wear buoyancy aids and they will ask you to do 50 meters test of actual swimming without buoyancy aid. So swimming is one of the main obstacles, not just for Muslim women, but for people of ethnic minorities anyway, because by statistics it looks like swimming is not something they will think of doing as sports anyway, and that has been especially an issue like with the children of Asian communities and Black people communities.
Again, I would assume that's the clothing issue.
No,
A lot of that I would assume would
For
be
the girls
clothes.
especially.
For the girls.
for Muslim girls, yes, but this issue is not only just with girls. It's just generally these communities they don't see swimming as kind of sports, either because in the past no one did it in their family, or because they come from the regions where the water is little.
Also, like from some communities, like even like when I was a kid, my parents are Greek, right? And even they had issues like, oh, you can't mix with boys mixing with girls. They didn't have the issue with clothing, but it was also the mixing and the unknown. The parents are not sure what's going on. So we do need to encourage the kids to get into swimming and then clear up the misunderstandings.
Let's remember, swimming is a sunnah. It's one of the 3 sunnahs.
It's a life skill, yes.
It's so important.
You never know when you
but
need
a lot
to
of
know how to
kids
swim.
don't know how to swim, or they're scared to get into it. Like their families are scared to encourage them. Like joining Scouts had been like even going to Scouts was a barrier because of where it was held. So the same thing with
And nowadays,
swimming.
I mean, it's so easy to find swimming sessions for kids in all public.
Well, it's a part of curriculum now as well.
Yeah.
They would take children to swimming, and that's what sisters need to remember if they do want to try paddle sports. If they go to the shops and think, oh, let me go buy this paddle board and try it myself, please learn swimming first, because no matter how you think you will be good at this paddle board, any kind of other craft paddling, you got to learn how to swim first. So
Even if you have,
if you go capsize or you get, the tide comes in and you get, blown away by the wind or anything like that, you need to be able to kind of save yourself. So yes.
And ideally, don't go by yourself as well.
Don't go by yourself. Yes.
Know where you are.
That's what I always say to everyone. And if I see like a new paddler on Instagram or something like this, I'll always message them saying, "Listen, this looks great, well done, but like
safety first."
Yeah, safety first. Wear your buoyancy aid.
Yes. Definitely. So again, just to remind everybody, this show is done in partnership with TFGM. They have several websites you can go to find all sorts of activities you can do, especially now the weather at last is better. If you are limited by the weather, like sometimes I am. I know there's only bad clothing, no bad weather, but still, you can't kick the French out of me.
I think if you come from a hot country, this weather can be a downer when you can never expect.
Yeah.
Oh
But-
yes,
but, yeah.
yes, I can tell you this because my husband, he was born in Iraq,
Oh,
and
yes.
for him, when it starts raining here, even if it's the summer, he'll be like, I don't want to go out. So you need
But
to
here you
find
have to
also-
adjust your mind.
You
It
have to
always
adjust,
rains
yeah.
here.
Very
You
true.
just
I mean,
have to get
I have to say, my walking group, we are a hardy group.
Yes.
We go out in any weather. The only times I've ever cancelled is when we've had a storm, and that's because from
dangerous.
experience a few years ago, we didn't go at the normal time because there was a storm, but one of the ladies and myself did say, after the storm had blown away, and it looked like it was nice and clear, we said, do you know, well, let's just go. And we went much later than we normally would have done. And we were walking through Salewater Park, and a tree fell.
Oh yes.
As we were walking past, we just heard this huge cracking noise and sort of turned around in slow motion like you do in the movies, and we watched this huge oak tree thankfully falling into the woods rather than into the path, but it could have gone either way. It
Yeah.
really could have gone either way, and there was a lady behind us with 2 young children, and we just gasped.
Yeah.
And so since then I've said no, we're not,
Wait.
even after a storm, because sometimes the trees fall after.
Yes.
They've been weakened and then they fall later, so you
a
wait
slow
till the
process.
next day. But that's the only time I've ever cancelled. Even if it's raining, we go out, so you get your wellies or you get your
you're right.
raincoat.
You're right.
Same thing with paddling. After any of the big downpour, like big storms and rains, you have to be careful
Because there might be a rush of water.
rush of water, trees, getting stuck under the trees is very dangerous. So yes, you're completely
Yeah,
right.
but a little bit of rain doesn't do anybody any harm. Get an umbrella, get
exactly.
a coat with
So
a
Anna,
hood.
you go in
Nobody
all
wears
sorts of
an
weather
umbrella.
and-
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we
okay.
get wet anyway. Well, in the winter or colder months, obviously, we will either wear like a dry suits or dry cogs, or if it's paddle boarding and you may be getting into water, it will be a dry suit or wet suit, like a neoprene suit.
Yeah.
Full
And you can
body,
wear
and then-
something likely over it. don't you?
Yeah, some will wear like a dry cog, which is like a kayaking jacket on the top, just to keep the wind and extra water away. And to be honest, you don't need to you don't need to go and buy expensive gear. You can just improvise.
Very true.
Cycling waterproof trousers
Yeah.
on top. You know,
Yeah.
most of my stuff is either cycling or not very expensive, or like I can't afford £600 dry suit. I went on the Army Surplus website and got myself like a helicopter rescue dry suit, and everyone is like, "Oh, where did you get this dry suit?" Because I've got all these nice pockets and like
And it's probably
high
a bit
vis
less-
lines and
yeah.
everything.
And it's probably less. It's not figure hugging.
It's not figure
quite
hugging,
loose.
and it was like a fraction of
Oh,
that
I'm going
cost.
to
It
write
was
this
like
down.
70,
Army
80 quid.
Surplus.
Yes, write that down.
Fantastic. Great tip. Great tip.
Yeah.
So from Manchester TFGM, you can go on mcractive.com. This is the website we always give you as a link, as well as B at TFGM. That's the dedicated website from Transport
But
for Greater.
B-E-E.
Yeah, B as in the bees, like the bzz, yeah, bee, because obviously that's the symbol of Manchester. We are like the working bee. BEE active.tfgm.com. There's amazing amount of resources there on how to be active while traveling, so walking, taking the tram, cycling, the new cycle paths. So much has been I just love Manchester. You can hear it. I do.
I'm so glad you guys came. That really,
So-
just love this conversation.
So fascinating.
The hour has gone so quickly.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yes, thank you, and I'm so glad we found Anna, because I love to find Muslim women who do like things that are a bit unusual.
Well,
and-
let's make it more usual then.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, I agree. So Anna, how can people contact you, find you? You have an Instagram, I believe.
Yes, so it's kayaking hijabi.
Okay, very, very
Is that your
easy.
Instagram handle?
Yes, kayaking
Okay.
hijabi.
Oh, yeah, you do talk technology.
And my email is kayakinghijabi@gmail.com.
Very easy.
Yes, I can send you just how to hijabi as HIJABI hijabi. Kayakinghijabi@gmail.com.
Super simple, but
Yeah.
again, those are.
We're gonna put the links on our video.
Yeah,
At
definitely.
the bottom of the YouTube video.
And then the ladies can also look just She Paddles hashtag on Instagram with lots of different ladies paddling. There are many
So she
women.
as in SHE.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
the pronoun she.
She paddles.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are many women from different communities, people of color as well, that do paddle sports. I think regardless of faith, they can be inspiring. Very
Fantastic.
inspiring.
Yeah.
That's so good. So stay tuned.
Can I just say, paddling is not is not just for fully able people. There are people with there's a thing
Disability.
called paddleability. Yes, so
Brilliant.
yes, so the clubs, many clubs, they cater for people in wheelchairs or for learning difficult, special needs. So I would encourage all the ladies and girls, Muslim ladies, try and find a paddle club around you. So if don't let anything stop you.
Fantastic. We absolutely
you.
love this. Thank you both, Anna, paddling, and Ruqayya for walking. And please stay tuned, because right after the news we'll be continuing to talk with Ruqayya, but more about how to keep yourself healthy, how she managed to turn around her health, and be doing the things that she's doing now. And we'll talk a bit more about nutrition, which is Angela's forte. She loves this.
And that's the news now.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.